Did Drew Brees play his last NFL game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday? And will he now retire? Chris Lovitt and I discussed the topic. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more NFL videos.
Sad on Sunday when Drew Brees played the Bucs. Like, you could just see almost the entire game. Like, he looked very old, kind of, and his arm strength wasn't there. When he only threw for 134 yards, and obviously that these three crucial interceptions, that was just heartbreaking. Like, the Saints were in cruise control, almost had the lead and everything, and then he just made these almost stupid mistakes and got the Bucs right back into it. And they obviously scored 21 points off the turnovers, and you could just see almost that like Sean Payton knew that he needed something extra in this game. Like Jameis Winston even threw that long touchdown pass, and I mean the whole season he relied on Taysom Hill more and more and got him into the game in so many different situations. So yeah, it seems like that was really, like, time has really caught up to Drew Brees, and this might well have been like his last NFL game.
Yeah, it was really sad to see. I think and you saw it especially on some of those picks that he threw, where his mind could see the throw, and the window was there, but his arm just didn't have the strength anymore to make the throw. Classic case of his mind's still there, but his body's not quite there. And yeah, I mean, when you have to bring in your backup quarterback just to throw the ball down the field, then yeah, that's obviously not great. And yeah, they've obviously been bringing Hill in and out all season. But yeah, I think that is Drew Brees' last game. I can't see the Saints, trying to run that back and expecting something different, and we've kind of seen something similar all season with Pittsburgh, or should I say towards the end of the season, where teams would just crowd the line of scrimmage and there was no real threat that any deep passes would be completed. And that's kind of what the Buccaneers did as well. Having all of those guys up in and around the line of scrimmage allowed them to take away, some of the Saints' run game. And when you put the ball or the game on Drew Brees' arm, you've got to fancy your chances now.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it this season and also last season. I mean, Brees missed 4 games this year, obviously, after suffering multiple broken ribs and a collapsed lung. And then he missed 9 games over the past 2 seasons because of injuries. That's also was kind of an indication, like, he's not going to have that much time left. And you could see that whenever, like this year, obviously Taysom Hill stepped in, and last season it was Teddy Bridgewater. But whenever these two kind of backup quarterbacks almost played, like, the Saints defense almost looked better at times. So that's obviously not a good sign, that if your backups can just come in and kind of take over for you and your offense doesn't really miss a beat. And then when you come back, it almost looks worse than it was before. That's kind of not really a great sign. And yeah, I mean, he said, I think the entire season, he never really said it was going to be his last one. And he obviously still has 1 year left on his 2-year deal that he signed last March. But yeah, I think if he's going to be honest to himself, he probably sees that, yeah, that was it for him.
Yeah, in this new age of the NFL and the way teams are set up now, it's, before, the case would always be that great defenses beat great offenses. And I think what we've seen now, especially this season, is the great offenses are the ones coming out on top. And what we've kind of constantly seen is all of the evolution of the rules to favor the offense, and all of these new schemes and dynamic players, dynamic offenses. I think that's the way that the game's going now. And having a quarterback like Big Ben or Drew Brees, Philip Rivers, I guess Brady's probably the only outlier, but none of those guys can really consistently throw the ball down the field anymore. And when teams are putting up so many points on the other side of the ball, there's going to come a time where you need to put up points quickly. And it's fine having a great run game and a great offensive line, if you can't get that ball down the field quickly, then I think you will find yourself struggling. And that's pretty much what we saw with Drew Brees yesterday. I mean, the Saints were ahead and were kind of cruising almost, and then they ended up turning the ball over and going behind. And then watching Drew Brees try and control the last drive or two and throw the ball down the field, it just really didn't look very good. And it's obviously something that isn't there anymore. And obviously that then restricts your play calling. We all know what a fantastic offensive mind Sean Payton is. He's obviously then limited in what he can call. And yeah, there's so many things that hold you back when you've got a quarterback like Drew Brees is, and obviously his lack of arm strength. That I would imagine this is probably the end for him in New Orleans.
It's quite sad, but I mean he had a great career. Like obviously, unfortunately, the Saints only managed to win one Super Bowl with him. They just had some very bad luck and some freaky losses over the past 3-4 years in the playoffs. And I think for me, he's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he played 15 years in New Orleans and 5 in San Diego, and he's a 13-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time All Pro. So I think, and set countless records up, of course. So he's definitely going to go into the Hall of Fame. And obviously, that's not going to be the ending he would have wanted, but I think he should end it now when he's like still ahead, instead of like forcing himself to play another season, and then kind of it could become ugly and he could really fall off a cliff.
Yeah, and winning that one Super Bowl for the city of New Orleans was, so meant so much to them. And some people may look at his whole time in New Orleans and maybe think he underachieved. Since he went to New Orleans, they've had the number one offense in the NFL 6 times in the 15 years he's been there. They've had a top 10 offense 14 out of 15 times. The only time they weren't in the top 10 was this year. So they've had offensive success sustained, not really like much that we've ever seen before. But I think him getting that one Super Bowl ring, bringing it to the city of New Orleans is, more than enough. And yeah, he's definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks ever. But yeah, this probably isn't the way that he would have wanted it to end. But I guess they can't all end like Elway or Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I mean everything has to end at some point, and yeah, it would be interesting to see what the Saints are going to do moving forward. If like almost not if, but when Brees finally retires in the next maybe coming weeks, yeah, it would be interesting to see what the Saints choose to do. If they try to sign a free agent, if they find the quarterback in the draft, or if they even try to play with Taysom Hill next year. But yeah, that's going to be maybe a difficult next year or a couple of years if the Saints kind of have to almost rebuild their roster a bit, because their cap situation doesn't look that great. But yeah, that's going to be interesting storylines to follow going forward in New Orleans.